University of Florida? No. I don't know.
Oregon. That's about it. J-Mac for the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
All right, Chris Broussard on the show after us is now joining us live. Okay, so Zach Lowe came out and said, he said it on a podcast at The Ringer. He said, listen, Luka's getting worked early in these series, and it's not that trading Luka was crazy. It's that they got nothing back, and that at some point, our staff showed me this morning, Brew. Luka had 25 dunks as a rookie. He has 2 in the last 2 years. There is some athletic decline. It's something. And what do you make of his performance in this series?
No, that's a great point. I thought that was interesting what Zach said, that smart people in some corners of the NBA understand why they traded him. Like you said, you just want to get more. I would not have traded him. I still feel that way. But there's no question. When you look at some of his highlights in earlier years as a rookie, his second year, he was dunking on people. He was taking people off the dribble and dunking on them. Like, he did not look that unathletic, and now he does. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think the feeling, Colin, is that even though he's only 26, there's a feeling that his prime will be a lot shorter than, other players. Like, that he's got maybe 3-4 more years. Now, I'm not saying this is right, but there's a feeling out there. He's got 3-4 more years at, as one of the top 5 players in the league, and then it's over after that. Defensively, obviously, you see the problem, and I get it. He's not incredibly quick and athletic. But what his problem defensively is that not only is he bad defensively, but he's disinterested most of the time. If he's bad and interested, then you can make yourself a decent defender. Steph Curry, Steve Nash, bad defenders, but interested defenders. So what that means is they communicate, they make sure they're in the right position on the floor, and they become passable on that side of the ball. Luka, when he wants to be, is passable as a defender. But most of the time he doesn't. He's disinterested, and that's a problem. So I say Luka needs to win a championship before LeBron falls off, because there's no guarantee, Colin, that he will have another teammate as good as even
number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WINCA Miami, WMIB FM HD2 Fort Lauderdale. Free never sounded so good.
1-0 pitch. Stowers cracks that one out to center and deep. Siri is back. He looks up and it's gone. The Marlins waste no time. Kyle Stowers with a 2-run shot, and they take a 2-0 lead in the first.
Miami Marlins baseball is on deck.
2-1. That kicks away from Rodriguez. Hill breaks for the plate. There will be no throw. And on a wild pitch, the Marlins walk it off again. 1-2. Conine lifts out to left field. Tommy Pham working back to the warning track. So is Sawinski. They look up and it's gone. Griffin Conine to left center. And we're tied at 2 in the 7th.
Marlins on deck. Brought to you by ADT, the official smart security partner of the Miami Marlins and Norwegian Cruise Line. Experience more at sea. Let's head out to the ballpark. Here's your host, Steven Strong.
All right, nice job, Ricardo and Ahmed. Welcome live from the Fox Sports 940 Marlins Radio Network studios. You're listening to Miami Marlins baseball on the radio on this final day of April. Game 32 of 162, 18% of the season has been completed. And this afternoon, Miami will look to salvage this series in Los Angeles and complete a 2-4 road trip that started in Seattle and will conclude in Chavez Ravine. This is game 3 of this 3-game set between the 20-10 Los Angeles Dodgers and your 12-17 Miami Marlins. The man that kicked the road trip off will end it. Cal Quantrill is coming off a victory against the Mariners on Friday night, and he'll look to steer the ship in the right direction this afternoon. He'll go opposite Tony Gonsolin, who will make his return to the hill for the first time in well over a year after he underwent Tommy John surgery. He'll face the team that ended his season in 2023. It all starts at 3:10 right here on the Marlins Radio Network. Hallelujah. We've got finally not a 10:10, a 9:40 game, afternoon game. Welcome in here on this Wednesday afternoon. This is Marlins on Deck. Steven Strom, Jack McMullen, and Craig Minervini are live from Dodger Stadium. Rather. They will have your call in about 40 minutes. Let's get you the lineup for the show today. We'll first hear from Scott Kornberg, AAA voice of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. They're killing it down there. Frankie Pilieri, the director of Marlins Amateur Scouting, caught up with Jack McMullen. Want to share that as well. We'll get you ahead of the count with Quantrill and Gonsolin. Jack and Craig will join me to discuss what happened with Sandy Alcantara last night, coughing up 7 runs. We have not seen Sandy look the way he has in the past. We'll discuss that later on. Our Expo question of the day, of course, at Marlins Radio and Steve's Guarantee to Victory. So we'll start here on a positive, and the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp are 21-7. They're first in their division, and Scott Kornberg has more.
Thank you, Steven. The accolades really just continuing to pile up for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. 21-7 record. That is the most wins of any team in minor league baseball. Pretty crazy. July 2019 until this year, they had 0 sweeps. Part of that, obviously, is minor league baseball doing a 6-game-a-week format. It's just hard to sweep a team in 6 games. Until this year, apparently. The Jumbo Shrimp swept Charlotte in early April. They just got off a series sweep with Davis and De Los Santos's walk-off home run on Sunday.
Suero, third base side. Big right-hander, his pitch. High fly ball, deep left field. De La Cruz watching it go. Ball game over. Davis and De Los Santos wins it in the bottom of the 9th inning.
So it's the first time for Jacksonville with 2 sweeps in a season since 2014. I mean, they also have a 7-game winning streak and an 8-game winning streak at 2 different points this year. First time they have done that, 2 winning streaks of at least 7 games since 2017. And as you know, it's only April. So this team has been absolutely remarkable. Best starting pitching ERA, best bullpen ERA, obviously best total ERA in all of minor league baseball. And I know you guys are seeing the benefits of Augustin Ramirez and reaping those rewards. When he went up to Miami, we got Joe Mack here in Jacksonville, and he has bashed not only 1.
Here's the 0-2 to Mack. High fly ball, deep right field. Marisnik turning around, watching it fly over the power alley. It's the first AAA home run for Joe Mack, and it's a bomb.
But 2 home runs so far this year.
The 0-1 pitch. High fly ball, deep right field. Jimenez back near the wall. It's gone. Joe Mack crushes a 2-run home run.
So the Jumbo Shrimp right now in the middle of a series with the Durham Bulls. It's one of those things in AAA. All roads lead to Durham. They lost the series opener 3-2, looking to bounce back tonight. Freddie Tarnock is on the mound. It's game 2 of a 6-game set here in the Bull City.
All right, excellent stuff right there. Scott Kornberg down, or rather up, with the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, 21-7. Yes, Joe Mack replaced Augustin Ramirez, who's been killing it up here in the show. Joe Mack, number 9 prospect, has been phenomenal. Valente Belloso started yesterday, retired 7 of the 8 batters he faced, went 2 1/3, allowing no hits, 1 walk, and no punch-outs. Now, the question for the on just the big league side is who is going to start on Friday. Connor Gillespie, of course, was optioned. So who is going to be the guy that's going to slot in to that spot on Friday night? We shall see. Valente Belloso was a candidate, but because he pitched, he probably is not likely to pitch on Friday, of course. Can it be Adam Major? That is the big question going into Friday. But we've got a lot on our hands here this afternoon. The Marlins are looking to win their 2nd game on this road trip. Come back to the 305, enjoy an off day. It'll be Cal Quantrill who'll go opposite Tony Gonsolin. We got a lot more left on the Marlins Radio Network.
At Loan Depot, we're big on home games.
In the heart of Miami, there's an energy that runs through these streets. It connects us all. This is where South Florida comes together and the whole world is invited. A city where new horizons blend with retro flair. It's where transformation can happen overnight and championship stories unfold past, present, and future. The love for baseball and the mix of cultures create a rhythm that's loud and proud. And this jersey is woven with the threads of our past, infused with the teal of our legacy, and accents of pink like bright lights that paint an electric glow in the city where the party never ends. This gear is a symbol of who we are, bold and united. It's a blend of history and hope, tradition and innovation. Together, we'll take the field. Together, we'll write the next chapter.
Pitcher Anthony Bonda. Now a southpaw Dreyer, his 0-1 pitch. That one is slashed up the gut and throw for a base hit. Dane stays hot. He plates Xavier Edwards from third base, and it's an RBI single. Fish on the board right away. 1-0 in the top of the first.
5-5 ball game, top of the 10th. Pitch on the way. Line drive, that's a base hit. Sanchez delivers. It's a gapper. He's rounding first. He'll get at least two. It's kicked around in center field. Sanchez is going to try for third. Here's the relay, and it's not going to get there in time. Sanchez over to third base with an RBI hit, and the Marlins have the lead in the 10th.
Information, visit ADT.com.
Welcome into Marlins on Deck here on this Wednesday afternoon, getting you ready for Game 3 series finale, final game of this road trip for the Miami Marlins. Cal Quantrill will go opposite Tony Gonsolin and Steven Strom here. Jack McMullen and Craig Minervini are live from Dodger Stadium. They have your call at 3:10. Well, we got a chance to sit down with Frankie Polari, the director of amateur scouting for the Miami Marlins. He is actually originally with the Seattle Mariners, so Jack McMullen got a chance to sit down with him. Spent 6 seasons there, 3 in that role of the amateur scouting director. He is now with the Miami Marlins. Draft coming up in July, but it was really good timing with Frankie in Seattle, revisiting his old stomping ground. Jack McMullen got a chance to chat with him. Wanted to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse of how the Marlins are looking at college and high school prospects, what they're valuing, what they're not. So here's that conversation with Jack McMullen and Frankie Polari.
You went in the editorial direction for a little bit. You worked at Fangraphs, you worked at D1 Baseball. So, okay, you get into writing. How did you kind of make that jump from writing to the pursuit of actually working for an organization? I'm sure that was a dream for a while.
Yeah, there was a little bit of back and forth, push and pull. I knew my skill set was writing, but I also was really, really fascinated by the evaluation part. And I think for a while it was, how do I teach myself how to do this? How do I get better at this? And I had some opportunities early. I did some pro scouting early with the Texas Rangers, kind of getting my footing under me, trying to figure out how to be a scout. But I always knew I could communicate it well on paper. And I've said to a lot of young scouts coming up now, and luckily I can pay this forward, you need to make a lot of mistakes and scout a lot of players, do it wrong, write it down, record your thoughts, and see how it plays out over time. And luckily that's what I had a chance to do. It's a little different doing it for an audience. You're catering to a little different speed of, it's less nitty gritty, a little bit more fluffy at the time, but you're still recording your thoughts. Yeah. You're still writing it down. And that's really what it is, because you're going to be wrong so much in this business, really, really wrong. You need to write it down and hold yourself accountable to it. So that was pretty cool.
We're chatting with Frankie Polari, the director of amateur scouting for the Marlins. I do want to get, kind of your concepts when it comes to evaluating college talent and high school talent. I want to start with college talent too. Yeah. There are some things that could be viewed as like red flags when evaluating a college player. When you look at college hitters, if they strike out a lot, you worry that the strikeout rate is going to elevate a little bit when they get the Pro Bowl. Yep. What are some of the things that jump out to you when evaluating a college bat, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it. The strikeouts and the contact, and the ability to make contact is a very, very big deal. Doesn't mean those players can't turn it around. There are good players out there that we had high on the board last year and I'll have high on the board this year that strike out. But it's usually because they have something else and they have another club in their bag, so to speak. They can really defend. They can really run. They might get on base a lot. They may walk. The exit velocities may be very high. It's all sort of like the scales of justice with these players. They can do other things to outweigh that, but you do have to be aware of certain flags historically are just harder and more difficult to get beyond.
What has the last month or so looked like for you? Obviously, we are into
the thick of the college season and the high school season, how many days a week are you on the road?
It really varies. Sometimes what I've tried to do is have a couple days where I just sit at a desk and go through our information and do it in a little bit more of a modern way. We pride ourselves on that here, but it's probably an average of 6, maybe 5 at times. And it's important, and it's about how we use the time now. We try to do it a little bit differently and try to really focus on where can we go that is really hard to get information. So I try to focus on that part when I travel.
Frankie Polari, appreciate the time.
Of course, absolutely.
All right, excellent stuff right there with Frankie Perleri and Jack McMullen. And that interview is going to be up on our podcast page and eventually the YouTube page as well. Very interesting to kind of get the 411 on how these guys operate, not necessarily day-to-day with the Miami Marlins, but the future of the Miami Marlins. So excellent spot with Jack McMullen and Frankie Polari. Let's break here. We will get you ahead of the count. Again, 3:10 first pitch, series finale from Los Angeles. It'll be Cal Quantrill, who started this road trip and got the victory in Seattle on Friday. He'll look to do the same thing in Los Angeles. He'll go opposite Tony Gonsolin. Stick with us on the Marlins Radio Network.
In the heart of Miami, there's an energy that runs through these streets. It connects us all. This is where South Florida comes together and the whole world is invited. A city where new horizons blend with retro flair. It's where transformation can happen overnight and championship stories unfold. Past, present, and future. The love for baseball and the mix of cultures create a rhythm that's loud and proud. And this jersey is woven with the threads of our past, infused with the teal of our legacy, and accents of pink like bright lights that paint an electric glow in the city where the party never ends. This gear is a symbol of who we are, bold and united. It's a blend of history and hope, tradition and innovation. Together, we'll take the field. Together, we'll write the next chapter.
Pitcher Anthony Bonda. Now a southpaw Dreyer, his 0-1 pitch. That one is slashed up the gut and throw for a base hit. Dane stays hot. He plates Xavier Edwards from third base, and it's an RBI single. Fish on the board right away. 1-0 in the top of the first.
5-5 ball game, top of the 10th. Pitch on the way. Line drive, that's a base hit. Sanchez delivers. It's a gapper. He's rounding first. He'll get at least 2. It's kicked around in center field. Sanchez is going to try for third. Here's the relay, and it's not going to get there in time. Sanchez over to third base with an RBI hit, and the Marlins have the lead in the 10th.
Purchase excludes Alaska.
Hey, this is Griffin Conine, and you're listening to Marlins On Deck with Steven Strom on the Marlins Radio Network.
Well, I'm glad we just heard from Griffin Conine because we do have an update for you. He underwent successful surgery on his left shoulder yesterday in Los Angeles. He's expected to miss the remainder of the season, but he will be ready for spring training 2026. Welcome into Marlins On Deck here on this Wednesday afternoon. Game 3, final game of the road trip for the Miami Marlins. They'll return home tonight, off day tomorrow, and then start up a 3-game set with the Athletics, and then a 3-game set with, these Los Angeles Dodgers. Cal Quantrill will go for the Marlins this afternoon, 30-year-old right-hander. Let's get you ahead of the count. We'll start with Cal, making his 6th start of 2025. He's 2-2 with a 7.83 ERA, 23 total innings pitched. He did open on the road trip, and he was awesome. He closed up on Friday in Seattle, allowing 4 runs on 5 hits, no walks, 5 2/3, 5 punch-outs. That was a season high, generated 12 whiffs, no walks. He really got burned on a 3-run shot in the 6th. Other than that, Cal Quantrill, I think his line didn't really how well he did throw against the Seattle Mariners. The Marlins have scored 37 runs in Cal's 5 starts. That is 7.4 runs per game. The Marlins have averaged 3.8 runs in 24 games that he hasn't started. So no excuse for Cal on the run support front, career-wise, against the Dodgers because, of course, Cal comes from Colorado, same division as L.A. He's seen him a myriad of times, 1-6 and 80 ERA, 7 starts 34 2/3 innings pitched career-wise against the LA Dodgers. Cal Quantrill will go opposite Tony Gonsolin. This is an interesting story. 30-year-old right-hander. He'll make his season debut today after he had Tommy John surgery, ironically, after his start against Miami on August 28th of 2023. He gave up 10 runs, and that was it for his season. Ended up going on the IL and getting Tommy John surgery. This guy has had a crazy career with the Dodgers because in 2022, Gonsolin was 16-1 with a 2.14 ERA in 24 starts. He was an all-star in 130 1/3 innings pitched. He then, of course, suffers a Tommy John surgery, misses the entire year. Looked like he was on his way back this year in 2025, but he began the season on the IL after hurting his back lifting weights. He made 4 rehab appearances with AAA Oklahoma City, a 3.21 ERA in 14 innings pitched. So he'll make his season debut for the Dodgers, who just continue to deal with injury after injury on their pitching front. Gonsolin will go opposite Cal Quantrill at 3:10. We'll break here. We will discuss what happened yesterday with Sandy Alcantara, surrendered 7 runs in last night's defeat in the Dodgers. Craig Minervini and Jack McMullen join me next. Don't move a muscle. We're back in just 2 minutes on the Marlins Radio Network.
In the heart of Miami, there's an energy that runs through these streets. It connects us all. This is where South Florida comes together and the whole world is invited. A city where new horizons blend with retro flair. It's where transformation can happen overnight and championship stories unfold. Past, present, and future. The love for baseball and the mix of cultures create a rhythm that's loud and proud. And this jersey is woven with the threads of our past, infused with the teal of our legacy, and accents of pink like bright lights that paint an electric glow in the city where the party never ends. This gear is a symbol of who we are, bold and united. It's a blend of history and hope, tradition and innovation. Together, we'll take the field. Together, we'll write the next chapter.
Pitcher Anthony Banda. Now a southpaw Dreyer, his 0-1 pitch. That one is slashed up the gut and throw for a base hit. Dane stays hot. He plates Xavier Edwards from third base, and it's an RBI single. Fish on the board right away. 1-0 in the top of the first.
5-5 ball game, top of the 10th. Pitch on the way. Line drive, that's a base hit. Sanchez delivers. It's a gapper. He's rounding first. He'll get at least 2. It's kicked around in center field. Sanchez is going to try for third. Here's the relay, and it's not going to get there in time. Sanchez over to third base with an RBI hit, and the Marlins have the lead in the 10th.
954-852-2508.
Feel terrible, just being out there and having the same result, and I can't do nothing when my teammate need me the most. I know this is a process, but I'm tired. I'm tired of having the same success out there, and I know this is a process, and I gotta believe in it.
All right, that was Sandy Alcantara in yesterday's loss to the LA Dodgers. Steven Strom, Craig Minervini, and Jack McMullen with me now. It's hard. It's truly hard to hear him. You could hear it in his voice. You can hear it in his heart. Craig, you were down there yesterday. What can you tell me about just the interaction in his body language?
Yeah, you could see the frustration, and I think it's beyond frustration. I think it's almost anger now. But I guess the best news out of it was he said he's still healthy. I think the first thing, I don't know about you, Jack or Steve, but the first thing I thought was maybe he's just not feeling well because it's just so un-Sandy-like, especially the walks and the way they're hitting him around like he's a call-up from AAA. It's mind-boggling. I know he came off surgery, but he looked pretty good, and I understand it's spring training, but his stuff looked good. Even the Pittsburgh game looked very good. They got to him in that 5th inning, but it was electric. And so it is a little mystifying, but he says at least it's not health. But it makes you scratch your head.
What was the most alarming thing for you, Jack, last night?
Honestly, it was the misfires. So over the heart of the plate, okay, I understand that's going to happen. It's just a level of execution and all that stuff. But for me, it was how hard the night was for Agustin Ramirez behind the plate. I mean, everything was in the dirt. Like, there were a lot of pitches that were being bounced. And I understand kind of getting away from your fastball. You're disincentivized to throw a fastball after 96 on the first pitch, gets taken 114 miles an hour down the line by the best player on the planet. Like, a tone setter from Shohei Ohtani is going to happen. And I understand the reluctance to go to the heater. But for me, it was him spiking the changeup in front of the plate. It was him spiking the slider in front of the plate, the curveball in front of the plate. Like, Agustin Ramirez was like a hockey goalie last night. He was playing, he was the netminder for the Panthers last night with where he was bouncing left and right. And it was just tough to watch. I was thinking maybe it's a release point issue with everything being low, but I don't know. It just felt like things were either low, they were over the heart of the plate. It was a tough day for Sandy. Hopefully he can scrub it and get back on track in Miami.
You bet on guys like Sandy Alcantara. There's no doubt about it. Again, yesterday, 2 2/3, 7 runs, 5 walks, 2 punch-outs for Sandy. Okay, guys, so this started well for the Marlins in Seattle. They've dropped the last 4. What's the tenor right now, at least in the clubhouse? Particularly if they win today, you come home with a 2-4 road trip, a lot different than 1-5.
Yeah, I'll go first here. I think, these guys are just trying to get right, have a happy flight back to Miami right now, and then, dominate the off day like you love doing, Steven, and then get back in action against a really good A's lineup on Friday. Like, this Athletics lineup is performing pretty darn well right now. So they know they have their work cut out for them. But, this is a Dodger team that has the glitz and glam of any team in professional sports, not just Major League Baseball. So I think they're salivating at the opportunity to try and, salvage this series, avoid the sweep today, and then head back to Miami, hang out for a minute, put your feet up, reset, and then attack the A's.
I was just talking to Connor Norby, and before I even said anything, he said, "We got to get him today. Yeah, we got to win this game." One thing that is maybe working in their advantage: Tony Gonsolin has not pitched since 2023, and the last time out, the Marlins racked him for 10 runs. They hit 5 homers on him in that game, and after that, he had surgery. Now this is his return, so they're going to be careful with him. And you hope you get a rusty Tony, and the Marlins come out. I think I don't know why. I feel like they're going to have a good game today. Look, they had a shot. You got to win the games you can win. Not easy the other night, but when you take the lead, that's the one you look at this road trip and say, boy, give me that game on Monday night. Didn't happen. Hopefully they'll get out with a win today. They seem to be good on these getaway days. For whatever reason. I don't know if it's the food on the plane or Ernest and Richard and part of the airline crew that we have that's wonderful, but this is their day, so let's see.
All right, let's do a positive to end this thing. Griffin Conine underwent successful surgery on that left shoulder yesterday in Los Angeles. He's obviously expected to miss the remainder of the season. He'll be ready, though, for 2026. Good on that front, at least for Griffin Conine having a successful operation.
Yeah, absolutely. And he saw one of the best in Neil Elatrash, who, you could say is the gold standard of shoulder and elbow surgeries as it stands right now. Just to dork out on you a little bit, there are really 3 people that do major shoulder and elbow surgeries right now around Major League Baseball. Keith Meister is based out of Houston. Neil Elatrash is in Los Angeles. And then you have another guy in New York, and I'm forgetting the name. But, a lot of the big names in Major League Baseball will go to Dr. Elatrash or Dr. Meister. And Dr. Elatrash took care of Griffin, and certainly hoping for a speedy recovery.
And Dr. Elatrash also took care of Tony Gonsolin. That's who did the Tommy John surgery on him going back to, I think it was August or maybe September now of 2023.
Well, guys, we did it. We didn't screw up segment 4. It's been nice, but I missed it in person. The final time, hopefully, we ever have to do this.
We got close to screwing it up on Monday with the rock concert that was going on before the game. But you know what? We survived, we advanced, and then we thrived on Tuesday and Wednesday.
That's it. And for our StreamYard audience, I actually was gifted here. The entire organization was gifted with the New City Connect shirts. What's your thought? Early thought. I love the color scheme.
I love the teal. I love the gradient feel, too, where you kind of start with the teal and pink stripes on the side, and then it blends into a solid black on the left sleeve. I think that it's a really pretty, clean look, and I think it captures the city exceptionally well.
Absolutely. Those colors are Miami, no doubt about it. And I do want to see him. I haven't seen him in person. I only saw the pictures. I'm looking forward to Saturday night. I think all fans are looking forward to this, too. We like the Sugar Kings look. This is kind of a new touch that this new Marlins City Connect. It's going to be good.
And a reminder, the team is going to be wearing the City Connect uniforms for the first time on Saturday, but it's also the first opportunity you have to buy your City Connect merchandise at the Marlins team store on Saturday.
One other note, Jack, I saw Connor Norby has a training glove, if you will, and that was also in the new City Connect color. So it looked great on the leather as well.
All right, boys. Great stuff. Go have some fun. I'll see you, on Friday? Let's get a W today. Jack McMullen, Craig Minervini, they have your call at 3:10. We'll break here. Expo question of the day, Marlins Radio, of course, Steve's Guarantee, and then we'll play some baseball on the Marlins Radio Network.
In the heart of Miami, there's an energy that runs through these streets. It connects us all. This is where South Florida comes together and the whole world is invited. A city where new horizons blend with retro flair. It's where transformation can happen overnight and championship stories unfold. Past, present, and future. The love for baseball and the mix of cultures create a rhythm that's loud and proud. And this jersey is woven with the threads of our past, infused with the teal of our legacy, and accents of pink like bright lights that paint an electric glow in the city where the party never ends. This gear is a symbol of who we are, bold and united. It's a blend of history and hope, tradition and innovation. Together, we'll take the field. Together, we'll write the next chapter.
Pitcher Anthony Banda. Now a southpaw Dreyer, his 0-1 pitch. That one is slashed up the gut and throw for a base hit. Dane stays hot. He plates Xavier Edwards from third base, and it's an RBI single. Fish on the board right away. 1-0 in the top of the first.
5-5 ball game, top of the 10th. Pitch on the way. Line drive, that's a base hit. Sanchez delivers. It's a gapper. He's rounding first. He'll get at least two. It's kicked around in center field. Sanchez is going to try for third. Here's the relay, and it's not going to get there in time. Sanchez over to third base with an RBI hit, and the Marlins have the lead in the 10th.
Do not miss your chance to win while also giving back. Visit marlins.com/raffle for more information.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WINCA in Miami, WMIB FM HD2 Fort Lauderdale. Free never sounded so good.
Steven Strom steering you and guiding you to first pitch. Game 3, the series finale, final game of this road trip for the Miami Marlins. Don't miss a moment of Marlins action. Download the iHeartRadio app, make Fox Sports 940 the top preset, and then listen to every Marlins game. Craig Minervini and Jack McMullen have your call live from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Cal Quantrill will go opposite Tony Gonsolin, who will make his 2025 season debut for LA. Marlins looking to win number 2 on this road trip before they come back home, enjoy an off day tomorrow, and then open up a 3-game set with the Athletics, and then play the Los Angeles Dodgers again for 3. So it'll be a 6-game homestand for Miami. Let's get to our Marlins Radio Expo question. We talked about the City Connects. You can see it on my audience for StreamYard. The organization was kind enough to give us some of the City Connect shirts. They're awesome. Got a little teal, got a little pink, got a little Vice feel. Got 305 hats are fire. Cannot wait for the Marlins to show them off on Saturday afternoon against the Athletics. Make sure to come out to Lone Depot Park because all of our guys are going to be wearing them on the field. So my question today is, what year did the Marlins launch their first City Connect jerseys? Make sure to vote at Marlins Radio. It's time for Steve's Guarantee.
Batter up. Batter up.
Let's play some ball.
First pitch is moments away. Time now for Steve's Guarantees.
Well, I'm looking at Jesus Sanchez today for a couple of reasons. First of all, he's sort of been in a funk. These last couple of games, Jesus Sanchez is really struggling to create any sort of pop in his bat. We saw late in the 10th inning a couple of nights ago, Sanchez broke through, but his last 8 games, 5 for 27. I like him to break out of this funk against Tony Gonsolin. 2 RBIs, an extra base hit. I don't know. I like the matchup for Sanchez, righty, lefty. He'll bat second. And eventually you got to just know with some of the numbers, the exit velo, the way he swings the bat, that's going to change. Like Jesus Sanchez to have 2 RBIs and extra base hit this afternoon in Los Angeles. Folks, I hope you got the itch for first pitch, because when we come back, Jack McMullen paints a picture. Craig Minervini, he's ready to rock. Starting lineups in first pitch is right around the corner. Thanks for tuning in to the Marlins On Deck pregame show. I'm Steven Strom. Let's flip the M together, Miami. Marlins baseball is next. This is the Marlins Radio Network.
DQ presents